Hey, this is Brian Jones. Welcome to the Service Marketing Podcast. It is a wonderful, beautiful November 2nd, daylight savings time. What a fabulous holiday. I don't know about you guys, but we treat this holiday very, very serious at the Jump household, Jump Castle, if you will. And we give out gifts. Yes, we give out gifts. Things that are related to time. Timepieces like, luxury watches, wall clocks, grandfather clocks, stopwatches. Because I feel it's the one holiday that's been kind of overlooked. It's underappreciated. The holiday is giving you an hour. It taketh away as well, but it's giving you an hour right now, at least if you live in California. So yes, we don't disrespect it. We actually celebrate it. A real nice plastic watch from the family, and I don't know how to thank them. Today, maybe it's your first time. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to talk all things marketing. We talk rocket fuel. We talk wins and losses with my 34 years of marketing experience. Yes, I am degreed in marketing. True fact. Bachelor's of Administration, emphasis marketing. Cal State Fullerton, 1992. Holy crap, he's old. Yes, he is. And that's how it's allowed me to have 34 years in business. Yeah, I'm only 40. It's really weird. Do the math. Only 40. Like 40 is young, right? And I'm old, a lot older than that. So I'm not just old, I'm hella old. Do you guys have a good Halloween? Yeah, thanks for asking. We didn't give out candy. We're out in the desert out in Palm Springs for the day and night. It was a lot of fun. Saw some crazy creatures out there, some ghouls and goblins of a different sort, but it was fun. A lot of good fun, a lot of good food, great company with the wife. We had a good time. It was nice to let our hairs down and hang out by the pool. Nice weather, like 85. Just great times. Yes, last night went to a costume party. A friend of the family's, if you will, almost relative of the family-in-law kind of thing. He had a birthday / costume party, so that was cool too. So yeah, but you didn't tune in to hear Brian's personal stories, did you know? World Series, did you guys watch that? Holy crap. I thought for sure the Jays were going to take the Dodgers down, and no, the Dodgers. Will Smith, man, they have a few players on that team that are postseason freaks. Edmund, Muncy, Smith, these guys, they don't do much during the season, but man, when it goes postseason, these guys shift into like 8th gear. Man, it is nuts. I don't know if you're a baseball fan, but if you are, if you didn't already see it, check it. You probably already saw it if you're a baseball fan, but if you're not, holy moly, if you didn't. We're gonna help a business. Normally I do listener mailbag. I wanted to go a little deeper. This is a former student, about 3 months out. He's struggling a little bit to make some dough, and he's one of those kind of guys that doesn't know what he doesn't know. And so he hasn't asked a lot of questions. I hope he tunes into this episode. If he does mention that he's been kind of struggling, I will point him to this episode and he'll go, "Oh, Brian, thanks for making me this episode." That's kind of how we talk. I know he wasn't born here in the United States. Clue. Normally we do listener mailbag, but for brevity's sake, here at the studio on a Sunday, trying to get back to the household and just get rested up for the big week, because man, it was, like I said, all that stuff we did, it took a toll on the old man. So I need to get some Z's, kick the feet up a little bit, as it were. Former student, graduated about 3 months, paintless stent repair training, PDR training. He comes by the shop every now and then. He's locally based. He'll get some paint touch up off for some of his jobs. We'll hook him up, being a former student and all. And he's getting customers. I know he's doing some dealers. I know he's getting some retail, which is good. I mean, that means at least he's got the skill set, which is, I would argue, not even the most important skill, but I would say it's an important skill if that's the business you're selling, right? You better be able to perform paintless dent repair if you're saying, "I'm a dent repair tech." But basically what he's saying is he gets customers, but he complains they're too cheap. And I say this because this transcends not just the dent repair and auto body and car cosmetic industry. This is worldwide. I don't care if you're in healthcare. I don't care if you sell bar glasses to bars or landscape services. A lot of people will complain that their customers are, yes, air quotes, too cheap on that little sidebar. If you're listening to the audio only version, we will also have this on video on YouTube. So feel free to go over to the SAI Service Marketing Podcast YouTube channel, little plug, if you want to see an old man talk about marketing. Otherwise, audio, if that works for you, if you're rocking and rolling, you just want to plug and play, audio works too. He mentioned that his customers are too cheap, and they probably are, but whose fault is that? And this isn't a blame podcast. We're not just here to just start pointing fingers and it's your fault. No, yes it is, but at the end of the day, we're gonna tell him how he can recognize it's his fault and he has control, because a lot of people feel helpless and they don't understand the wizard behind the curtain is them. It's not the customer. In other words, you pull the levers, you choose your customers, you do the marketing, and you attract those kind of fish, which you guys, if you follow the podcast at all, I'd love to talk about fish analogy, because fishing is such a adjacent analogy to marketing, because getting the wrong fish is accompanied to getting the wrong customers. If you fish in the wrong hole, who knows what you're going to come up with. I just walked right by that. I plugged myself for a nice dirty joke, and I'm fishing the wrong hole. No, I'm high road today. High road today. Don't forget what holiday it is. It's very special. You guys should give gifts too. So in this episode, we're going to talk about his avatar. We're going to talk about his pricing, and we're going to talk about his marketing budget. Does he have one? Well, we're going to discuss. Are you ready? Rock and roll. Here we go. So I asked him, I said, who's your customers? And he says, I do wholesale dealers, and then I get some retail customers. I said, well, where are you getting your retail customers from? He says, Craigslist primarily. Now, I'm not going to poo-poo on him, because way back in the day in the late 90s, my brother and I created some little image ads, and we would get a lot of calls off Craigslist. What kind of people do you think will call though? Yes, that's right. Somebody yelled out in the back corner. That's right, Toby. Cheap customers. People go on Craigslist to get deals. It's a deal hunting website. And the problem with Craigslist is people don't realize, and a lot of the gypsies farm there as well, that you don't have to put a website. You don't have to have reviews. They can just find a phone number, call you, hire you for the job, and you're done doing it. And then, man, if you're not happy, what are you going to do? Are you going to go to the website? No, you're going to go to Google and give them a bad review. Maybe if you got the real name of the customer, but what if they say their name is Bob's Dent Repair and there's no such thing as Bob's Dent Repair, right? Craigslist, for a lot of reasons, for the cheapness primarily, is not where you really want to be hunting for clients. So that's the first thing. He's fishing in the wrong hole. He's catching sewer. He's fishing in a sewer, catching sewer rats. Okay, not good. AKA Craigslist, right? So the fix, you want to go where people have money and are willing to spend good money for your service. That's it. There's people all across the world, and they'll spend all kinds of money, right? I'll give you a much more macro example, right? Let's say you're really good at sales, okay? And you're like, you know what? My buddy in college sold straws to restaurants. So I want to sell straws. And I know he made pretty good money. He made, I don't know, $4,000 a month selling straws. Okay. Hypothetical, right? Wow, $4,000 a month. Okay, fantastic. I ain't barking on that. But if this guy is like elite salesperson, why not go high ticket? Instead of making $4,000, he could probably make 3-4x of that just selling one item, like a luxury yacht or a home or cars, whatever, some sort of medical services or whatever, right? This guy could be crushing. Instead, he's selling straws. The same idea goes for fishing in the wrong hole. Okay, marketing to the wrong customer. My former student might be a great tech, but the time that he lays hands on that vehicle is the same time as if he was doing it for a customer out of, let's say, Beverly Hills. We had a customer, I'll give you an example, another one, example on an example. We had a customer roll in Saturday morning, because we were just gone 24 hours for our little, we were back, like I said, for our Halloween get out of town. So I was back Saturday morning, Jeff and I running the Dentco studio here in fabulous Laguna Hills, starstruck Laguna Hills. And this customer rolls up in a Rover, brand new, 2-door, Defender, black, double black, and says, hey, I got a dent, how much? I go, okay. And I'm thinking, all right, brand new car, doesn't have plates on it, right? This thing's super shiny. I show him our little price list here inside the studio. I go, okay, base fee on that's $250, add $100 for aluminum. So $350, probably take me about an hour. Okay, can you do any better? I go, if the car wasn't aluminum, and I was thinking to myself, and it wasn't a brand new black Rover, yeah, maybe I could, but all things considered, no. I go, I can do it right now if you want. Yeah, let's do it. All right, you want to hang out or you want to come back? He's like, I'll just hang out. All right, I'll get on it right now. I'll put my other job aside. I'll knock this out as a courtesy to you. Thanks, buddy. $350, okay? Now, you'll see the prices that I'm talking about my former student, and it's a whole different deal, right? He tells me in his list, he charges retail customers, he starts at $75 a dent. Now, back when I first started this in 1993-4, right out of college, that's about the prices we were starting at for retail for small door dings, right? I mean, houses out here were $200,000 instead of $1 million, so 5x less. So 5x less on that would have been 5 times 75. I mean, that's about $500. Back then, that was probably pretty good money if all things are in line. Right now, $75, I mean, you can't even fill a tank of a car for $75 out here in Cali. $5 a gallon, right? Barely. I'm fishing for the right kind of client who has money, who values his car. Black Rover, spends the money. Our student is farming on Craigslist and he's barely getting $75. You see the point? When you search for the wrong fish, you catch the wrong fish. And that goes for any kind of business. Like I said, plumbing, hair, pick one. So he has to get off Craigslist. Okay, where does he go to? I would recommend go right to the high intent marketplace, and that would be Google Maps. People want services fast, and they usually want a trustworthy service. That's where they're going to Google. By the way, this is going to change. It's already changing right now. With AI, people are actually going to start going to, Chat's got its own browser. I don't know if you guys knew that. And they're going to start charging for ads, and you could do advertising there. Food for thought if you don't already know it. Okay. Also, I think I talked a little bit about doing a lot more marketing in different avenues last week. If you guys tuned in, if this isn't your first rodeo with us, and I talked about LSAs, local search ads on Google, and super powerful, high intent. I also recommend those as well. Very similar to Google Maps. So that's where he should be. Forget Craigslist. Get the hell off of that, right? Because right now you can actually tailor your ads for people who have money. You could block the keywords cheap. You could block the keywords free. And then start putting in other words like BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, Tesla, whatever. And then you're still going to get some bottom feeders, but you can broom them quickly. And there's ways to get those out too. If you want on your website, all dents starting at 200 and up, the cheap guys, the deal hunters are going to be gone. And that's fine because you can't serve everybody and you don't want to anyway. There's only so many hours in the day, right? Mark to those who have money, Google Maps, and you can do your ads skew towards the people who have money. And then he mentioned $75 for retail, and then he said $35 an entire car for dealers. What the hoochie? That's $35 to go around an entire car and take out dents. $35. I mean, if you're first starting out and you want to get a little experience in this industry, okay, but man, you better have a rich uncle or you're living at home with mom and dad and they don't collect rent, because you're gonna have a hard time just renting a freaking closet in the ghetto at those kind of prices. So it comes down to even respect and its brand image. If you're going to charge cheap prices, why should I respect you? And first of all, I won't even trust you if I had a nice car. $75, sounds like a great deal. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, show me some of your work, you know, because maybe I've already got an estimate from somebody else like me, and it was $350, and all of a sudden this guy says $75. It's like, wow, too good to be true. I mean, if he would have said $275, $300. All right, yeah, you're in the same realm. I'm saving $50. Can you do a great job? If so, all right, maybe. You can pick your clients and not just based on pricing. I have a story. The wife is a hairstylist. I think I've talked about that from time to time. So is the stepson. And they're both very good at what they do. Their people skills, they both have PhDs in peopleology. They really are. They're phenomenal. I wish they both were in the high ticket business of some sort instead of hair, but so be it. It's not for me to choose. But they both do reasonably well. But my wife wanted to kind of trim out one of her clients. No pun intended, but the client was just becoming a pain in the butt. And she could have just raised her prices for the one client, but she has other friends to go to my wife. So she's like, I'm just going to tell her I'm getting too busy and I'm really sorry. And what it was is the client was just negative all the time and complaining about her hair. And my wife's like, I'm kind of over it. She always has new people wanting to come in, referral city. She doesn't do any advertising. It's all word of mouth, because she's really good at what she does, like I said. And the lady just begged her, say, I'm so sorry, my hair doesn't be perfect. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't have to go, trying to find somebody else, And reluctantly, even though my daughter and I, it's easiest for us to say, you got to be tough, but she let her back into the fold. But this lady's attitude changed immensely. And it just goes back to, like I said, you are the wizard behind the curtain. You pull the lever, not the other way around. But if you allow the customer to pull the lever, then you're going to get, BF'd. And that stands for baby-faced, for those of you that don't know. So if you're watching the video portion of this, you would have saw me shaking my head no, because that was a joke. But if you're on the audio, so you wouldn't have got that joke. That's why one of the many reasons there's just so much value on video, the visual inferences, if you will. But that's okay, you do you. You're busy, you're driving, you're eating your bologna sandwich, you got to get to your job, I understand. Tell your clients, you're going to, my former student's business poor because he indirectly or directly chooses to be, right? Fix your cheap clients. Okay, number one, raise your prices, not a ton. And then here's the big win in all this, guys. And this goes for everybody that's listening to this podcast, including the guy that's talking to you. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Marketing is the number one skill aside from people skills. I mentioned the wife and the son with their peopleology, the doctorates. You want to have a degree in marketing. And I don't mean literally, I mean, go online. You got AI now that can get you up to speed so fast. Wasn't having success is because he just didn't understand marketing. I taught him, and we do teach marketing with class, but he never had any questions and never really seemed to want to go down that path. I think he was, I don't mind saying it, he was a little bit ignorant. And you know what? People a lot of times want to help. All you have to do is ask. And some people don't, but who cares? No dust on my shoulders, a little bit. So yeah, raise your prices, invest in yourself, marketing, and then get a doctorate in Peopleology 101. And then you literally will be wealthy. You know, you'd have to go down the wrong dirt road to not be. And it's just, like I said, I mean, just because I got my degree in marketing, guys, I've learned so much, you know, fighting the good fight at the front lines with my businesses. It's an opportunity for all you guys. So whether you're taking courses, whether you're going to be listening to podcasts like this, mentorships, AI, do it all. Do it all. Level up in your marketing and then your people skills. If you are on the front lines, maybe you're not. Maybe you have a business where you don't deal with people. Then, you know, X that comment out and just focus on the marketing. But there's nothing wrong with that. Why? Because it's a big holiday today and we got to get home and open gifts and sit under the daylight savings tree and sing songs. So that's it. Have a fantastic week. Hope you guys had a great Halloween and Dia de los Muertos, which I think is today. Isn't it the day after Halloween? I think it is. And I'm hoping to have an interview next week, so it would be not just my ugly mug, but somebody else's ugly mug with me. And I'm just kidding about that, about them. And we'll catch you on the next SAI, Service Marketing Podcast. Bye-bye for now.